Welcome to Artists Exposed with Tym Moss. It has been a minute. But I have a dear friend of mine that I really wanted to give some airtime to. Jess Branas is an amazing human being. She is running for the state house in Pennsylvania, representing the 96th district. So without further ado, let me bring Jess Branas on and we will just get right into it.
Hey
Jess, how are
Tim.
you?
Hi, honey. And it's actually just to correct you, it's the 97th district.
Oh,
The
97.
90,
I'm
the
sorry, what did I?
96th district is actually a Democrat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she's actually my parents' representative, which is really
Oh,
cool.
okay. Wonderful, wonderful. So I it's starting off with the wrong notes here.
No,
Okay.
that's okay. You're all good. You're all good.
So you
It
said
gets a little
97.
complicated down here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. So how have you been?
I'm exhausted.
Yes.
I'm excited. I'm exhausted. But it's been really amazing to see all the different areas of
Mm-hmm.
this district and talk to so many different people
Uh-huh.
and what their concerns are. It's been really nice. I've formed a lot of good relationships with a lot of people. And obviously, you know that I moved back to Lancaster
Yeah,
back in October to help take care of my mom
yeah.
and kind of take the pressure off my dad a little bit. And
Uh-huh.
it's been a really easy transition. Everybody's brought me in so amazingly, and it's
Uh-huh.
been, I mean, you graduate high school from here, and then you move on, and you
Yeah.
come back 30 something years later, and it's a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I have to say you are doing everything correctly. And also your forte is engaging the public.
Mhm.
You shine when you get out and shake hands and meet people and listen to their concerns. That's where you really shine bright.
Kind of like you.
Well, I try. But let's talk just a little bit. So you're from Lancaster originally, right?
Yep, born and raised 1976. So I grew up in what you said at the beginning. I actually grew up in the 96th district. That's where
Okay.
my parents still are. And I graduated from Manheim Township in 1995. I played soccer for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really nice to be back. However, things around here have changed. And as you
Uh-huh.
know, I was a former teacher, and this year, because once I moved back, I had to make an income. I went back
Right.
to teaching while
Uh-huh.
I'm running this campaign. And
Wow.
man, education has changed so much, but that's where
Oh
a
my.
lot of like legislative policies have to come into play too.
Right, right, absolutely. Because everything is so regulated. You can say this, but you can't say that. And I mean, the restrictions just seem very
Yeah.
restrictive.
Mhm. And obviously, like, I'm one of those old school teachers, but
Hmm.
the way technology has adapted and has grown and has entered the classrooms, there are a lot of things that I think are a disservice to the students and a lot of things that
Uh-huh.
are good. So, it's really kind of fine tuning. Um, and not to say we manage what's going on, but we also want to make sure that the students are getting exactly what they need so they can
Hmm.
become productive adults.
Right, right, absolutely. So you grew up there, you went to college there, if I
I went to
remember
college in
correctly.
Pittsburgh, University of
Oh,
Pittsburgh. So
went
yes,
in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
Okay.
So Pennsylvania, I did grad school here. I came back
Grad
here for
school,
grad
that's what
school.
I was thinking of.
Hmm.
Grad school and also taught there. So
Hmm.
you have had a large part of your life dedicated to this region.
I spent 1 year of my life living in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
where my dad had grown up.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very fortunate because I've lived all over the state. I mean, when you met me, I was living in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and then I lived in Delaware County. I've lived in Chester County. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Lancaster is where I'm born and raised.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Yeah. So you are no stranger to that district at all. I
Hmm.
love that.
Yeah,
Kind of full circle.
I know.
Um,
It's crazy, right?
yeah. So let's start with some of your the platform. So cost of living, obviously public school funding, access to health care.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's been really interesting, because we also have more things coming into the mix. Recently, obviously, data centers have come into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
I am a hard stop on data centers. That was something that I disagreed with our governor, and Governor Shapiro does a wonderful job. I mean, I think he's an amazing governor, but that was
Mm-hmm.
one thing that we differed on. He
Mm-hmm.
did just sign an executive order with the most stringent regulations so far
Right.
on data centers before they start coming into play, but the people don't want them. I mean, we've
Mm-hmm.
had town
Right.
after town go to zoning and planning meetings. I've shown up with them. Um, to kind of help ward them off.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the townships have been really wonderful with the process that they're going through, but things like flock cameras, like all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, I just at this point I don't trust. Now we have a senator, Senator Katie Muth, who I actually used to do social media management for the Toasted Walnut, a gay
Okay.
bar
Uh-huh. Yes.
in Philadelphia,
Uh-huh.
and she had one of her first meet and greets there when she was first running for Senate.
Uh-huh.
So she has introduced a three-year moratorium to kind of delay data centers till we have more information,
Right.
um, that I can support. But obviously, the worst part is, and people are starting to see it now, that money comes into play. The big tech money, the
Right.
corporate money is
Right.
really coming into play. So for somebody like me who's grassroots and has individual donors and not taking corporate money or lobbyist money,
Right.
that's where it's gonna, we kind of have to kick it up and knock as many doors as possible.
Mm-hmm. Now that is another thing that I am so grateful to you for is that it is grassroots.
Hmm.
You are not taking corporate
No,
sponsorship,
no,
which means that you are not beholden to corporations.
absolutely,
Can you touch on
absolutely.
that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I'm all of the Democratic candidates that are running, at least in this area, none of us are taking corporate funds.
Wonderful.
We're all doing this grassroots. I mean, obviously, like unions are not a corporate PAC; they're not a lobbyist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. Now, I have been endorsed by a lot of organizations and a couple of unions so far,
Good.
but I am not receiving funds from them.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Good.
a couple of organizations, like maybe two, but they're not trying to change any regulation. So, like
Mm-hmm.
for example, Represent PA, which is huge, they are an organization that focuses on electing women to office.
Nice. Nice.
So
Uh-huh.
they don't fight for legislation. They're just trying to help us out and help give us a
Right.
push.
Right.
So, but everything else has been individual donors, and I'm very blessed that I guess over the years I've had so many followers, so they're very willing. And I mean, some people donate $5 or $10, or I think I had
Wonderful.
like a $4 donation, but it still means something. And
But
it
also,
doesn't cost me any money to knock on a door. We have great
right.
volunteers, and I go out there. In fact, I think one of my team members and I knocked about 75 doors this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And see, the thing is that that's what makes the difference, in my opinion, is because
Absolutely.
a corporation, um, with the CEO and the people that are in charge, that's a handful of people
Hmm.
that actually go and click the lever at the voting booth.
Yeah.
But if you're talking to the mass of the people, that's where the power is in the people.
Well, it's supposed to
That's
be. I
the
mean, we're
numbers.
bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. I mean, when we see people who now have been going to local municipal meetings about these data centers, or people that are
Hmm.
now doing marches to help bring down utility costs and try and put the
Hmm.
stress on people. Public policy was always supposed to be about the people, and
Hmm.
legislation was supposed to be crafted by the people. If
Right.
there's, for example,
And
you
their
could talk
needs.
about, yeah, you could talk about gun reform. I had a friend back in Delaware County whose niece was killed by a stray bullet. Young,
Mm.
young girl. But it's things like that where the people come to us, the legislators, and say, listen, this can't happen anymore. We need something to change.
Hmm.
And that's when you're supposed to work with them and say, okay, here are the laws right now. What else can we do? And here are organizations that are also fighting for what you are coming to us for. So, how can we bring those people together? Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of people in office, including the incumbent, my opponent,
Hmm.
who won't even touch that.
Right.
He's a Republican. He likes he said people here like their guns, and that's it. Like, he won't even change to make it even safer
Wow.
for
Yeah.
kids.
Well, let's talk a little bit more. The five-time incumbent is Stephen Mincer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Stephen
Yeah.
Mincer, Republican and definite Trump supporter, who seems to be conspicuously absent from his campaign.
Mhm.
He's conspicuously absent from the public and also his constituency. He's
Yes.
just not making any appearances. It's like he's afraid to face the people.
Well, it's kind of changed in the past
Ah,
week.
okay.
So, well, like a couple of weeks ago, he did a telephonic town hall. This is
Hmm.
very customary for Republican politicians here, because that way you can't see people. It's not like Zoom where you can see people raise their hands and listen to their questions.
Right,
So he
right.
did it as a conversation with one of his friends who's a state senator. And then the
Uh-huh.
last 10 minutes, they were like, we're going to open it up to questions. And Steve read three questions, but never said who the constituent was or where
Right,
the question was
right.
calling from. My whole
Exactly.
team was on that call.
Mhm,
Some of my team actually put in to have questions asked. So,
mhm.
and it was never picked, of course.
Right, right, right.
So it's different than when you have an in-person town hall. I've had one every month for the past 2 months. I'm going on my third in like a week and a half.
Excellent.
But that's what you're supposed to do. You're
Right.
supposed to and have people around there who are also there listening to the questions and seeing that it's actually happening.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But
Mm,
he just put out a newsletter, and this is what makes it hard, and a lot of the GOP are doing it, and I think some Democrats are probably doing it. But because he's the incumbent, there are certain events that you normally do as a legislator. For example, a shredding event, which he is now obviously last minute having on September 24th.
hmm,
So he put
okay.
out a legislative mailer that's paid for by the taxpayers, not from his campaign, saying, I'm your state representative and I'm having a shredding event on this day. Come join me.
What
Or
exactly is a shredding event?
when you go and they can shred like mass paperwork. So they bring
Okay.
these big dumpsters out. It's like a shredding company. So
So it's
normally you do it in the
supposed
spring after tax season, but
right.
they're doing it right before.
Well, that sounds very safe and cozy.
Right. The problem is that people like me actually have to use my campaign funds to do things where he's
Mhm.
using his legislative office and the taxpayer money to hold
Right,
events to say, I'm your representative.
right. Well, now you had mentioned you have done the town halls, the in-person town halls, which I
Mhm,
love. Keep doing
mhm,
them.
of course.
And you have invited him to each one of them, and he has declined. Is that correct?
No, I haven't invited him to the town halls. I mean, he is more than
Oh, I
welcome.
see. I see.
But
Okay.
one of our news stations, WGAL, which is an
Yes.
NBC affiliate, had contacted me and asked if I would be, be interested in debating him, like
Hmm.
televised debate. I said, of course, not a problem. He did not answer them back. The League of Women Voters also asked him. He did not respond. And then a team member saw him at an event where he was just kind of hiding in the corner. And she
Hmm.
literally went up to him and asked him if he was considering debating me. He said no and walked away.
All right.
And
Well,
it's not that it has to be a bad debate, but it's kind of like
Mhm.
this is a chance for the people to hear from you who
Right.
has been supposedly representing them for almost 13 years.
Right. And from what I understand, his legislative record does not show a real active tenure in the House of
No,
Representatives.
no.
Um, let me just see. It said he only votes on what he needs to or has to vote on. Has not sponsored or introduced any new bills, but he is pushing one bill to end mail-in voting right now.
Yeah, so House Bill 258, and that was introduced and it's stuck in committee because the Democrats do have the majority in the House. But House Bill 258 is to stop no excuse mail-in ballot
Hmm.
voting, which obviously started during COVID, but that's something that disenfranchises our seniors if you don't have it, or people with
Correct.
disabilities, because if you just go to straight absentee ballots, it's for people who don't live here or are serving overseas.
Hmm.
So what they're saying is if you can physically get to the polls, then that's how you have to vote.
Right.
Now, I look at somebody like my mother who, is going through dementia, which is why I came back
Hmm.
home. My dad can get her to the poll, but it's what happens when she gets there, because it's very confusing.
Yeah.
She has a hard time signing her name, filling in
Mhm.
boxes. It would take her an entire day to sit there and fill that out right there and be stressed
Right.
and anxiety ridden. And this happens with a lot of other people. Plus, it
Mhm.
disenfranchises people who are working families. You think about it,
Mhm.
because right now, with utility bills so high, a lot of people, a lot of parents have not only children to take care of, but they have maybe 2 jobs now just to take care of the
Mhm.
bills.
Right.
So, until you make election day a national holiday, which I think should be done,
I agree.
until you allow those people that day to go out there and vote when they can get out there and vote and not have all
Mhm.
these obstacles, until then, mail-in ballots, their choice.
Yep. Yep. I agree. And
Mhm.
even our dear friend, and who is kind of your political muse, I think,
Yes.
Nathan James, he is
Mhm.
one also that will have difficulty getting to the polls.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Now we have here, and we have something really good. We have 2 senior communities here, and they actually have polling places in their
Oh,
community,
nice.
which
Nice.
is really nice. But I
Uh,
mean, you still have people who, maybe in a wheelchair and can't get down there or whatever the case
mhm.
may be. So, everybody's voice should be heard. And as we know, they've been trying to suppress people's votes,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and you can't do that to the people who work so hard, or who are, in fact, our senior committee, who have built this country.
Right. Right. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so now you have been very visible.
Mhm.
Let's talk about some endorsements. You've had some wonderful endorsements.
Mhm.
Malcolm Kenyatta.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Right.
He used to come on my podcast when I had a
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the two of you go way back. He
Mhm.
is currently the
Vice chair.
chair
Yep,
vice
of the
chair of the
DNC.
DNC.
Mhm.
Uh-huh, which is wonderful. Planned Parenthood
Mhm.
had some unions, which is great.
Mhm. Yep,
Uh,
Victory Fund will be coming up soon.
uh-huh, good.
They endorsed me when I ran for council, so they'll be endorsing me again.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Um,
I
so
can't forget the teachers union. I got to give them a shout out because I'm a teacher.
yes,
So.
yes, exactly. I agree. So now let's talk about the House, the Pennsylvania State House right now, House of
Mhm.
Representatives, because the balance of power in Pennsylvania is, or at least up until yesterday, I think, was
Mhm.
like one vote
Yeah. Yeah.
Democratic in
Yes.
with a one vote Democratic majority
Yeah.
in the House.
Yeah. We've been having a lot of special elections since 2017. I think we've had maybe was it 14, maybe even more, since
Mm,
2017. So we're constantly trying to keep that one seat.
uh-huh.
Now
Uh-huh.
we have 2 seats, which is good.
Right. Right, because of last night.
Yeah. But he still has to run in November again.
Right. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so it's very important for everybody to get out and vote. So I encourage everybody down below, if this, again, my incredible guest is Jess Branas, you can go to Jess 4, the number 4, jess4pa.com, or follow her at Jess4pa on Instagram and Threads, Jess4pa 97 on TikTok, or Facebook, Jess Branas for PA State House.
Mhm.
So it's, again, very important for everybody to get out and vote.
Mhm.
That's how we make a difference in this country and take control, because this is a country of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Mhm.
Um, one major thing that I want to talk on, and it's rather complex and has quite a history, is when you were a child, you used to swim in the Susquehanna River,
Mhm.
which is downstream from 3 Mile Island, where radioactive waste was dumped in the river.
Mhm.
And you and many of the other children at that time, um, over time, were diagnosed with some severe health issues.
Mhm. Correct.
So,
Yeah.
can you
So
talk on that a little bit more?
so 3 Mile Island, I was about so that was 1979. So I was about 3, maybe 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So my sister is 3.5 years older than I am, so it doesn't affect her. But I mean, we grew up swimming, fishing, and back then you could actually eat the fish out of the river. They didn't
Right.
have the throwback laws.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and thyroid cancer is something that develops slowly over time. It takes about 30
Mm-hmm.
years for the tumor
Wow.
to develop. Um, and so when when I went in for surgery, my throat was swollen. My dad noticed that my throat was swollen. Went in for a biopsy. They found a tumor, but it wasn't cancerous. But they said we have to take this out anyway. Turns out the cancer tumor was behind the tumor.
Oh my
So
God.
I actually wasn't even diagnosed until I was in surgery.
Wow.
And then when they tested the tumor, it was, dictated that it was from overexposure to radiation. Um, and once I put the word out to my friends, a lot of them started getting tested. Now, I was lucky because mine did not spread.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in 2012 when I had the surgery done, when everything was, I mean, when I say, and this is why healthcare is so important, when they got me in for my actually, it wasn't even a biopsy. They were just going to look at my throat. They ended up doing the biopsy in that office that day and scheduling me for surgery, which I was going in for surgery 2 weeks later. They did it all right then. There was no
Wow.
wait 6 weeks. My
Right.
father had surgery a month ago, and
Uh-huh.
3 months worth of constantly going to the ER until finally he said, "That's it. I can't do this anymore. You have
Wow.
to, take this out." So it just shows how different insurance companies and hospitals
Mm-hmm.
work now than what they used to, from my dad being the neighborhood doctor, totally
Mm-hmm.
different. But because of that, and it being 3 Mile Island, and again, I don't want to just go back to data centers or AI stuff,
Well,
because
but
again, I'm dead set against it.
this is what
Right.
is actually happening right now.
Right. So Bill Gates and I believe the Trump administration
Mm-hmm.
have both invested in opening a one of the nuclear reactors at 3 Mile Island,
Mm-hmm.
reopening it to power their AI project.
Right.
Um,
So all of
and
the energy from that one reactor is going to go specifically to power this AI
right
data set.
now, they say nuclear power is clean, but also what happens when something goes wrong? And with all these
Right.
regulations that have been kind of pushed aside on the federal
Mm-hmm.
level, I mean,
Absolutely.
it sounds like Governor Shapiro is trying to put things in line now, but it may be a little too late for this project. And they have a 20-year contract on this project. 20
Mm-hmm.
years. And if something does go wrong, I mean, you got to think, it doesn't just go down the Susquehanna River. The Susquehanna River will affect Maryland too, because
Right.
it empties
Right.
out into Maryland. So
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of my residents live along the river.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that is going to take a lot of investigation.
Right.
It's going to take a lot of talking to the community to see how they feel. I mean, I don't know if we can shut a nuclear reactor down, but I sure as hell will try.
I I like that attitude. I like that. Well, again, Constellation Energy or
Hmm.
Is it Constellation Energy?
Hmm.
The electrical company
Hmm.
there. Um, did they not receive a sizable grant? Like, didn't they, or is that
They're all
something
kind of working together. So, like, I guess
right between Bill Gates and
Microsoft technically is the company that's opening this up. Yeah. So Microsoft and Constellation Energy are the ones kind of in combination doing this project.
hmm
So yeah, so they received quite a bit of funding, quite a bit of investment. Again, Bill Gates invested in this, and I'm sure others are too. But it's really disheartening that all this stuff started happening before any of us had information
right, right.
to see how dangerous it is. And you could have looked at other states that have already been implementing these projects. You could have looked at those further before you even allowed it, but people have tech in their pocket, and
hmm
obviously that counts for something for them, not for me. But it's nice to see that at least there are some people that are trying to step back a little bit and maybe restructure and say, okay, well, now we have to, kind of like Governor Shapiro, now we have to put these plans in place.
Mm-hmm.
I would have much rather said no data centers here. But
Right, right,
you know,
right.
maybe we can stop the rest of them. There are over 70 different proposals right now. So maybe at the local level, the people can come together and stop them in their tracks.
At least my observation of this is it's primarily money.
Hmm.
It's about it is the driving factor, the driving force underneath it all. And
Yeah.
it's almost like there's potential for a repeat incident as when you were a child. That's a possibility. That is definitely a
There's
possibility.
always a possibility.
Right. And again, they're sidestepping regulations and
Mhm.
stepping around them, which opens it up even more.
Right.
But I like your David and Goliath attitude. You just do your David thing.
I will.
Keep in there, because once again, you're doing a grassroots campaign
Hmm.
as opposed to the five-time incumbent Metzner,
Mentor, yeah.
um, Menser, who is because the Supreme Court just ruled that political parties can just make like unlimited contributions.
Correct.
So
So
he's receiving like millions and millions of dollars,
that I
and
don't know. That
well,
I
okay. Well,
yeah.
we'll
So
leave that.
well,
But
he's received a
there's
lot over the
potential.
years.
There's
Yeah.
potential that would might be a possibility of him.
Yeah, I think that is.
Um,
Now, the Democrats have tried, or they're going to be introducing, or just introduced, a bill. I believe it's House Bill 2827. Some of the Democrats got together to end corporate PAC money to campaigns.
okay,
So I would fully support that bill.
and that would
Uh,
be on the state level.
that would be on the state level,
Good,
correct?
good.
So I would highly support that. So any bill that doesn't go through or pass or get signed by the governor, it's at the end of the year it's going to be dead, which means we would have
Uh-huh.
to reintroduce it next year. So if they don't get to it until the end of the year and it doesn't pass, then I would certainly work with them to reintroduce it.
Right, right. So, but once again, there's the people need to rise up. It's a time
Mhm.
for the people to rise up, and you are part of the people.
Yeah.
You are trying to represent, and you are getting out in the public. You are talking to the people. You are talking to the public. You are
Mhm.
trying to hear their concerns and trying to come up with solutions for that, as a good representative should
Mhm.
be doing.
Absolutely. Now, I
In
mean,
my
I'm sure you see the same stuff in New York. I mean,
Mhm,
rent's out of control,
mhm,
utility costs are out of control. We have people who are getting money from those companies, not only property management companies, but realtor lobbyists. I actually met, and I will say this because I always like to preempt this. I actually was invited to meet with the Lancaster County Realtors Association. Now,
mhm,
when I was invited, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come in and talk to you, not realizing they were a lobbyist. So I looked them up and I was like, oh man. But then I was like,
mm,
this is going to be interesting. So they're
right.
like, we want to talk to you about affordable housing. Now, when I went in, all the questions that they asked, I gave them my opinion. I gave
Mhm,
them my stance on rent control, um, on maybe taking some of the dead buildings over by eminent domain to create,
mhm,
affordable housing.
great.
I was worried about like seniors on fixed incomes who maybe have to get an apartment, how much they raise the rent every year,
Mhm,
these types of issues. And their stance was, well, it takes a company $700,000 or so to build a new construction. So how can we get that cost lowered so our agents can sell houses?
oh,
And
shoot.
I said, that's the problem. I said, because once an agent
Mhm,
sells a house, once you sign that paperwork, your agent gets commission. That's how they get paid. They get their
yep,
commission. They don't care if the person in there can actually pay the mortgage or not, or if anything
right,
happens. It may
right.
not be affordable to them.
Mhm,
So at the end of the meeting, I said, it was very insightful, to hear your questions. I said, I'm sure you probably did not like my answers. And I said, but it really doesn't matter because I will not take your money.
mhm.
And as soon as I
Good.
said that, their faces dropped. And I actually got an email from them last week. So it was like, I don't know, a month and a half or so. They didn't even need to email me. They're like, hey, we just wanted to let you know it was great meeting you, but we're endorsing your opponent,
Mhm,
Steve Menser. And I'm like, Well, I already knew that because you endorse him
Right.
every cycle and give him money every cycle. I did not want your endorsement, but I came
Mhm.
in and it
Right.
was very informative for me to hear how they kind of depict their stance on things and trying to see
Absolutely.
like if I'm swayable, which I am not.
Hmm. My observation of things is money. What is that saying about money corrupts absolute or something, or
Hmm.
absolute corruption, or money, something to that effect. But money seems to just make people do the most immoral and crazy things. It's almost, and it just seems to keep compounding on top of compounding on top of compounding. Money, 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 money is the most important thing in our
I don't know
society.
why.
And
I
in
don't have any money,
actuality,
and I came to.
same here.
I
And
try
in
and be the good
actuality,
person.
it's separating us from our humanity. And
Absolutely.
that's what I think the majority of people are feeling right now,
Yeah, I mean,
is that we
if you
need to
can't,
make a return to humanity.
absolutely. I mean, if you can't see a doctor when you're sick, or can't take your
Yeah.
child to the doctor if something went severely wrong, or if they got ill, or if they had a disease, like
Mhm.
that's not okay.
Right. In the richest country on the planet,
Yeah.
mind you.
Well, I don't know. Didn't Trump throw us into
Oh,
bankruptcy?
well, yeah,
And
that's true.
I mean,
$40 trillion or something in
but we're
the
wasting it on a
deficit.
stupid war. It's not even, it should not have even happened when we could be taking care of the people here.
Right. I agree.
And for so many years, and Republicans will say this. They'll say, well, you know, why are we spending money, sending money to Israel or sending money here? That's what they would say to the Democrats during
Hmm.
Biden's term. Like, why are you sending money to, this
Ukraine.
country or that country? Yet they're sending money overseas and not helping the
Hmm.
people here. And in fact, they're doing things in a way that's costing people here.
Right. Right.
Um, and it's like at this point, we have so much suffering going on,
Hmm.
at all different levels of people in economic class, not the wealthy, but the middle class, the working class, the
Hmm.
low income, students, seniors, black and brown communities, like you name it. Everybody is suffering. And it's about time that we say, you know what? We pay our taxes. We are supposed to get services for those
Hmm.
taxes. We didn't ask you to start a war.
Hmm.
We didn't
Right.
ask you to sit there and build yourself a crypto bank with their
Yeah.
family and make tons of money while everybody else has to sit here with 2 or 3 jobs just to put
Hmm.
food on the table for their kids. And then they bitch about kids having free breakfast at school.
Hmm.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I
I mean,
mean. We've got to
it
get
drives
back
me
to
crazy that there is no, like you said, no humanity. And now people are finally coming together and saying, that's it.
right,
We're
right,
done.
right,
Because it's not a red or blue thing. Disease
right.
doesn't care who
Correct.
you voted for.
Correct.
Losing your job or having to have 6 jobs or having a crappy minimum wage has nothing to do with what color shirt you wear.
Mm-hmm.
Your electric bill doesn't care if you wore a MAGA hat or a Kamala Harris hat.
Mm-hmm.
Your prices are still going up. And guess what? Your service hasn't gotten any better because my food doesn't cook any quicker on my gas stove.
Right.
And I have a third increase that's going to be coming up in October.
Oh my
So
God.
please don't tell me my heat doesn't go on faster in the winter just because you raise the price.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
it's time for it to stop. And I think people are
I
starting to
agree.
see it. So we're
I
going to do
think
our best
so.
to do
I
that.
think so too. So people should vote for humanity, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. But please go to jess4pa.com to find out everything about Jess Branas and her campaign. I am so grateful, so thankful for you coming on the show here.
Love you.
What would be some parting statements? So, like, why should people vote for you? Like, what do you want to say? to people?
Well, again, I mean, public policy is supposed to be about the people, and legislation is supposed to
Hmm.
be crafted by you. And there is a difference, and it's surprising how many people don't know what a state representative does. So legislation is just one aspect. Public policy is just one aspect. It's what we do in the office every day. If you have to reapply for your SNAP benefits, for Medicaid, that's what we do in our office. We have things like property tax and rent rebates, especially for the seniors, or if you're a widow. Those are things that we handle in the office. We can find mental health services for you, like what all of that stuff, help with infrastructure if something's wrong with a state road. But one of the biggest things is you need somebody who's accessible. Now, even though Menser is now having an event or two that he's supposed to be doing with his job, that's very convenient. He's doing it when he does. When I ran the legislative district for a state representative, if you could not get to the office, I brought the office to you.
Hmm.
If you lived in this area, our office was here, we would make sure once a week or once every other week we had a staff member in your area that you could get to instead of having to come all the way to the office, because our area here is about 5 times area wide, or area wise, the size of what my old district was,
Right.
the 163rd in Upper Darby. So we have a lot of ground to cover, and if you don't have access to your services, then that person is not doing their job bringing it to you, which is one of the biggest things that we'll be doing when we take over in November.
Yes, yes. So everybody in Lancaster County or in District 97.
Yes.
Okay. Get out there and vote for Jess Branas and go to jess4pa.com.
Yeah, if people want to phone bank with us, if they're not in Lancaster County, if you want to help us phone bank and call residents, that's greatly appreciated. We will be setting those up on like a weekly basis.
Wonderful. Jess, thank you so very much for all that you do. And again, you've got such a great heart. And again, your heart is for the people, to try to help humanity, try to help the people, try to just all of us get together and try to help each other live better lives.
Yeah, it's time. It's time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. And thank you to everyone for tuning in to Artists Exposed with Tym Moss and my wonderful guest, Jess Branas.
Thank you, Tim. I love you.
Love you too.